Hello, welcome to my kitchen here at Trails N62. Going to be doing something a little different today. Of course, we always do different things here. Going to be doing some tamales. Now, I'm not going to be canning tamales. I know there are people who say that you can and people that do. I'm not going to be canning tamales. But I am all about making things easy and simple. So what I'm going to be doing is canning tamale meat and canning tamale co, which is the sauce that goes on the inside of the tamale wrap. And then we'll be doing the wrap we do after that. But these are for making a quick, easy tamale dinner. And I'm going to show you how to do this. We're going to be starting today with the meat. Now, it doesn't matter how much meat that you have. You use whatever quantity meat that you have available that you want to do, however you can it up. Because we'll be using it individually when we use it. So you can whatever meat that you have. I happen to be canning the traditional Yucatec Mayan Tamale, which is not to be confused with what you might consider your average, everyday Mexican tamale. They are different. Different parts of the same country have different ingredients for what they call the same thing. And in this case, Mexican tamales is not the same thing as the Yucatec Mayan tamales that we're going to be making. There's different tamales, but you can make it however you want to make it, whatever meat you want to put on it. Traditionally, it's chicken and pork. It's kind of a mix of chicken and pork. If they don't have pork, they just use chicken. So you can make it out of hamburger, ground meat. You can make it out of beef. You can make it out of turkey, which is another staple that they use in the Yucatec Mayan tamale, and that's what I'm going to be using today because I've got a nice buy on a big chunk of already boned turkey. So I'm going to be using that instead of chicken, and we're going to be mixing it with some pork. But what we'll be doing is we're going to be mixing the meat up with a spice on the meat and canning the meat so that when we're ready to make tamales, the meat's already done, cooked and everything. We use it straight out of the jar. We might heat it up a little bit, but other than that, it's already done. So a lot of the process of homemade tamales, and if you have never had a homemade tamale, you are missing out. So we're going to be doing this, and so we can make our homemade tamales quick and easy. And if you watch any of my videos, you know I'm all about quick and easy. Alright, so I'm going to be doing some turkey and some pork. I'm going to mix those together. Like I said, you can use whatever meat you want. You can use straight pork. You can use straight chicken. You can use straight turkey. You can use straight beef. You can mix the pork and chicken, pork and turkey. I don't know if you want to mix pork and beef or not, but you know, maybe beef and chicken. If I was using beef, I'd just go straight beef. That's just me. So we're going to be doing turkey and pork, and we'll be mixing them together. Now, the first thing you do is you take your meat and you cut it up into, about 1-inch cubes, thereabouts. Just cube it up so that you can fit it down into the jar. So we're going to be cutting up our turkey, cutting up our pork, and then we're going to wash it. That's one thing that I learned from Evie is wash your meat. It makes a big difference in the taste. So we're going to wash it, and then we'll season it up. Evie right now I gave her the hard job. Right now she's cutting up the meat. Of course, the turkey's not so hard to cut up because it's just a solid piece of meat with no bone, and she's just cutting it into inch cubes. Let me show you. Okay, here she is. She's cutting it up, and this is just part of the chunk of meat turkey that we had. And so it's fairly easy. It's not quite all the way thawed because meat is a lot easier to cut when it's just a little bit frozen. But she's going to cut it up in about 1-inch cubes, putting it over in a big bowl there, and then we're going to do our pork and mix our pork in with our turkey. And this turkey is going to make a lot of meat. I can see that already. But the ratio for chicken, or in this case turkey to pork, is about 2 to 1. 2 part chicken, 1 part pork. It kind of gives it that little extra flavor. Okay, now we've cut up our pork, and by we I mean Evie has cut up our pork into chunks and cubes, and So we've got about a 2-to-1 ratio. Our pork here and our turkey here. We're going to put them in this pan and mix them together, and then we're going to season them. Alright, we have all our meat in here, and we're going to kind of just mix it up, get it all mixed up together. And then we're going to season it. Now we're going to season it with achote anado. This stuff right here is a liquid condiment, achote anado. You can buy it at a Mexican store, and some regular grocery stores have it. Now how much you use, well, that depends on how much you want to use. I don't have a whole bottle left, but so I'm just going to pour it in here. Now, you notice I have gloves. Wear gloves because this annatto stuff really stains. So be careful you don't get it on you. Now I'm just going to put it in here and add a little bit of water to get everything out of this jar, because like I said, it's not a full jar. And I want all that goodness out of there. Now normally we would do this with what is called ricotta. And ricotta is basically this annatto seed, but it's mixed with other spices. And this particular condiment has spices mixed in it. And so we're using this instead of what we call ricotta. And mainly because I don't have any made. But Evie's got a real good recipe that she stole from her mother on that. Shh, don't tell nobody. And but this has got spices in it too, and that's why we're using this to marinate our meat. And we'll mix this all up. Now I will say that I have drained the meat, put it in a strainer and let it drain for a while. So we drain most of the water out. There's still going to be some moisture in the meat. Like all the meat that I can, I'm canning it just like this. And it will generate its own liquid in the jars. Okay, that was almost too little of annatto. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break here, and we're going to make up a little bit of semi-ricotta to add a little more to mix with this. Okay, so there we have it. It's got a little bit more in there. And it's ready to go in our jars. We've mixed up, and we'll jar it up just like we do all of our meat. Leave an inch head space and process it in pints for 75 minutes. We're not going to add any liquid. It's just going to be added just like that. So I'm going to leave this marinate while I get everything ready to can it up. Alright, I'm going to be doing these 5 at a time because that's what my canners hold, 5 pints. I've got 2 electric carry canners, and that's what I'm going to be canning it in. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some meat into each one, my meat mixture. To each jar of meat, we're going to put in a half a tablespoon of finely diced onion, half a tablespoon of finely diced onion, and I like to put it in the middle. You can put it on top, you can put it on the bottom, but I kind of like to put it in the middle. And then next we're going to put in a half a teaspoon of minced garlic. And then after that, we're going to put in a teaspoon of powdered chicken bouillon. And then following that, we're going to put in a half a teaspoon of canning salt. You can use sea salt, I'm happy using Himalayan pink salt, which is just a basic salt. It has no additives. That's the key. Nothing with any additives in it. Canning salt, pickling salt, kosher salt is sea salt. Basically something like that's what you add. So we'll put in a half a teaspoon of salt. Alright, then I finished filling them up with meat. Kind of poked the meat down in there. Not pack it too tight, but pack it in there semi. Just kind of poke it down in there to fill up most of the big voids. Leave an inch head space. Then we'll wipe the rims with vinegar, put our lids on them and our bands on them, and we'll put them in our canner. Got 5 ready to go here, and then I'll do another 5. Alright, I got my meat done. The Yucatec Mayan Tamale meat. I came up with 14 pints. A couple of them didn't seal, but that's alright. I'll need some to try out anyway to do the tamales. Next up, we're going to be doing the cull, which is the sauce that you put on the inside of the tamales. Alright, so there we have our tamale meat ready to go. You really don't even have to heat it up because it'll heat up when you steam your tamales. But you can heat it up a little bit, but you just put it in a bowl. Kind of take a couple of forks, shred it up a little bit to mix it together and everything. And it's ready to go. Now, I'm going to be doing these in a series, kind of like a mini-series. It's a limited series, or whatever you want to call it. But so I'll be doing this video, and I was going to make these all at once, and I thought this is going to be a long video if I do this all at once, and making the tamale meat, making the cull, how to make the cull sauce, how to put the tamales together, and all that kind of stuff. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to make these in a series of videos. This one will be about the meat, and then the next one we'll be doing the cull, and then we'll be making the cull sauce, because you make the cull, you can it. I don't can the cull sauce, I don't can it all together made. Let's see, I'm canning the cull sauce, and then you make the cull. Got that backwards there. But I don't do it all together because you make it with the maseca, which is basically a corn flour. And I don't do a heavy flour type gravy type. Some people do. I don't. I don't do a gravy type thing to can because of the density of it, because the flour's a thickener and everything like that. So I don't do it that way. So I'll be making those videos separate. Right now, until next time, from my house to yours, from my kitchen to your kitchen. God bless.